What's going on YouTube? So even though the RX, NX, and all the other Lexus crossovers and SUVs are only getting more and more popular, the brand is certainly not going to abandon sleek and sporty sedans. For the last week, we've been testing out the product that fills that slot, the IS350 F Sport, which not only looks great, but has the performance to back it up with our model's dynamic handling package. But without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and jump right in and see if this is the compact sports sedan you should buy. So even though this is not that really cool upcoming IS500, you pretty much have all of the same styling here with this IS350. I really love what Lexus has done with this exterior design. It really has a low, sleek look to it, and one of the best integrations of the brand's signature spindle grille. So up here in the front, since we have the IS350 F Sport, we're going to have the full black mesh grille, which comes all the way down to the lower elements here. You have some black accents that go across here and even some black accents over here on the side. Again, makes for a really nice look. Now, adding to that sleek look is going to be these headlights. So you're going to have standard LED headlights on all the models, but on this specific example, we have the optional triple beam LED headlights, which just have a really premium and nice look with the 3 individual elements. You also have the integrated daytime running light with the arrowhead shape, and then you've got the LED turn signal above that. Now, adding to this model's really sporty looks are these wheels. So like I mentioned from the top, we've got the dynamic handling package. And one of the things that's going to throw in are these upgraded 19-inch BBS forged alloy wheels. They are lighter weight than the standard F Sport wheel. And of course, they've got a full black finish versus that model's gray finish. And then as we move on from those wheels, you'll notice we have F Sport branding, of course. The mirrors look really nice in typical Lexus fashion. They're going to be finished in a full gloss black, but we do have the chrome accent that runs through the middle. You got an LED turn signal indicator, and then as far as the features on this mirror, you're going to have heating, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring as standard equipment.
So here at the side of the IS, you can certainly tell this is a sports sedan. Lexus really has done a good job when they refreshed it to make this look very, very sporty and have also kind of a different look than what it did before. And that's also going to continue as you head around to the rear. They really have done such a good job of differentiating this, even though it was technically a refresh. So here at the rear, the most distinct element have got to be these full LED taillights that go across the entire back. These have a really cool look at night, I promise you that. They are going to be full LED besides for the turn signal here that is incandescent. But other than that, it's a very nice looking taillight unit. You're also probably noticing this right here. This is a carbon fiber spoiler. That's going to be included with the dynamic handling package. If you go for the regular F Sport, it will just be a black spoiler, but I certainly like the look of the carbon fiber one. And then dropping down, the F Sport is going to have its own unique rear diffuser, and all of the models are going to have dual exhaust outlets. Now, Lexus has thrown on board the most advanced safety systems with this IS350 as standard equipment, so it's going to be their Safety System 2.5 suite, which is going to include all of your standard stuff like forward emergency braking, pedestrian detection, as well as adaptive cruise control. It does further add in a traffic jam assistant in addition to the lane keeping and auto high beams. Well guys, this IS with the dynamic handling package sure is a good looking sports sedan. But now let's go ahead and check out that red interior before we take it out in a spin. And before we do all of that, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join this family and also leave us a like and a comment.
So for the IS350, of course, you are going to find a standard smart entry system, and you got the brand's typical key fob with the metal accent here on the side. As far as remote start, that is going to be available for a trial period. And then since we have the dynamic handling package on this specific model, it does also come with a access key card. But to get inside the vehicle itself, of course, just reach behind the handle. And when you do, you will be greeted by a lot of red in this specific example. This red is known as circuit red, and it's the most intense shade of red you can get. It's available on just the 350 F Sport, among the other options of black or white for your new Lux Leatherette Sport seats. And then if you choose the regular IS300, that will also come with the new Lux Leatherette in your choice of black, glazed caramel, or a darker Rioja red. Now turning over here to your door trim, again, you're going to see a lot of red, including all the plastics inside of the cabin, which is really a cool touch. So you got the red leather that runs all through here. This part does have a design in it, and the top part will be soft touch. You're not going to find memory seats on any version of the IS. And you will also notice we have a real wood trim that runs through here. This is actually part of the dynamic handling package, and it is genuine ash wood. You'll see that also in a few other places inside the cabin. As far as the windows, they're going to be one touch auto up and down for all four. Checking out the seats here, these are going to be 10-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support. And like I was already mentioning, this is the new Lux Leatherette. As I said in past reviews though, Lexus does a phenomenal job with this. Really feels like genuine leather. I also like the design of these seats. You do have the thick bolsters that really help hold you in place on a back road. So with the updated exterior, Lexus did do some updates to the interior as well. So across the gauge cluster here, you're going to find leatherette with a stitching detail, and then the rest of the upper dash will be finished in a soft touch plastic. As we move down here, we've got some more soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. And down the center tunnel here, we're going to find a nice leather material for your knee to rest against, though it is not padded on this specific part over here on the side. Otherwise, of course, everything in here is going to fit together absolutely perfectly in that typical Lexus way. Now start it up, press your button mounted up here. Now, right off the bat here, your attention will be drawn to this gauge cluster, which remains one of my favorite elements of the cabin inside of this IS. This is coming on the F Sport model, the 350 F Sport, and it is an 8-inch display, but of course the cool feature of this is when you press the button, the entire tachometer slides off to the side, revealing to you a larger multifunction display where you can get into like the really detailed information and safety systems and stuff like that. And then when you're just driving along, you slide that back over into the middle, and then you just have your basic information off to the side with your large tachometer, which does light up red and stuff like that when you get close to red line. Really a nice setup. It feels very sporty. Now pulling back here to the steering wheel, of course we do have a really nice leather wrap steering wheel with perforated leather over here on the side. We've got the stitching details, the F Sport branding, and since we have that dynamic handling package, we actually have a wood accent along just this top portion. Now as far as the wheel itself, it is going to be a manual tilt and telescoping, and the F Sport model does also include heating. But now let's go ahead and check out interior storage. Now this is a sports sedan after all, so I don't expect to see a ton, but you know, you still want enough for everyday life. So we'll start out underneath our console here. We do have a nice belt lining inside of this. It's decently spacious. We've got our 2 USB ports as well as a 12-volt outlet. But let's get our coupons out. I think they're gonna fit if we fold them in half, kind of wedge them in there. And then we'll shut down the door. There we go. So they do fit, not super well, but they do fit. Up in front of that, we've got our 2 cup holders. You'll notice we have our hand sanitizer setting in this, and that's because that's actually going to be the full extent of the storage. There's no additional storage up here. So I would definitely have liked to see like at least a small bin for a cell phone or something like that up here in the front. But checking out the shifter, so this is just going to be a traditional style shifter with your leather boot there. Of course, you pull back for drive. You can bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually, and you do have paddle shifters up on the steering wheel. When we go into reverse, you will be greeted with a standard backup camera, or we have the optional 360-degree camera system on this example. As you can see, really nice view, good resolution here in the center, and then you got your 360 view off there on the side. You can also press the view button over here on the beside the steering wheel, and this will allow you to have this 360-degree spin around the vehicle, which is pretty cool. And then you do have your brake hold as well as a electronic parking brake that automatically deploys when you go into park. Up in front of that, you got your drive mode controllers. We'll talk about that a little later in the video. But moving on up here, the next thing we come to are our audio controls. So the first thing you might notice is that we do have a CD player still on board. You don't see that very often on vehicles. And as far as the audio systems are concerned, you got a base 10-speaker Pioneer sound system, but this fully loaded example has the 17-speaker 1800-watt Mark Levinson sound system. And we're going to go ahead and give that a sample right now. Wow, so overall sound quality of this system is really quite spectacular. Certainly a joy to listen to over the last week. It's a very powerful and well-balanced sound system. Okay, so let's also look at what's above on this panel, which will be our climate controls. So you'll notice we have physical controls all lining through here, and then off to the side you have these little sliders. These are actually how you adjust the temperature. So you're just going to slide your finger up and down. It's actually pretty simple to use. I thought it might be a little annoying at first, but it has not really been a problem at all. And then, like I said, you have physical controls for the other stuff, including for your heated seats and ventilated seats. So both of those will be standard on the F Sport model, and then the heated seats will be standard on the IS 300 all-wheel drive. Alright, so now that brings us up here to our display. So with the IS, the refresh added a 8-inch display as the base display, and then this 10.3-inch display with navigation as the optional display. The big news here is that right there. This is now a touch display. So you do still have the Lexus remote touch controller down here. You can use that if you prefer that, but you now have the ability to touch this because the display is a lot closer. So this right here is the built-in navigation system. We do also have split screen abilities, so you can pull up multiple pieces of information at the same time. And then jumping to our menu here, you'll notice we have projection. This is where you'll find Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, and that's for both screen sizes. Moving beyond that, we do have a frameless auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. You have some pretty cool touch-sensitive LED lighting. And then up here at the very top, we have a standard-sized moonroof. This is available as an option on all models.
Alright guys, so join me here in the rear of the Lexus IS. So as far as the space is concerned, I will talk about that first because this is one of the smallest offerings in the segment. It has 32 inches of legroom, 37 inches of headroom. Behind Drew's seating position, I would say probably 3 to 4 inches of legroom, and my feet can comfortably slide up underneath the seat. So it's really not too bad overall. So those figures might be a little bit off in my personal opinion, but it certainly is going to be smaller than something like an Acura TLX or BMW 3 Series or Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Now, as far as what Lexus has thrown in feature-wise, we're going to get vents here in the center, and that is going to be all of it. You don't have any outlets, and you're also not going to have heated rear seats in the IS. Coming up to the trunk of the IS, you do have a button right here to open it up, so you can push that. I would like to see Lexus add some dampening. There is not going to be any dampening in the cargo area, but as far as the space itself is concerned, basically the same story as the rear area is going to take place. We have 10.8 cubic feet of space, which does put it on the small end for the segment, but overall I think it's plenty enough space for most people looking for a sports sedan. And if we look at the finishings Lexus has put in here, this particular tester has the really nice all-weather floor mats. And then if we lift that up, there is a spare tire. There's also some really nice LED lighting as well. Now your passenger seat will be 8-way power adjusting, which is pretty nice, and this seat also just really hugs you in so well. Now as far as the glove box is concerned, it's not going to be, well, actually it is felt lined. It's just felt lined in the very back. And as far as the coupons are concerned, they do fit in here perfectly fine. So you can be, you know, tearing up those country roads and also be thinking about your next meal. And then save some money there. And then up top, we do have a sun visor. We have some lighting as well as a mirror. And we can also detach it. However, it does not extend, and there is no extension in the end.
Nice. Very nice. So this, of course, is the IS 350. This is not the IS 500, which we were very anxiously awaiting. But this still makes plenty of power. So this is actually a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 engine, 311 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. And this thing does, you know, get up to 60 pretty quickly.
Yeah, the 0 to 60 for this model is 5.7 seconds, so that certainly is pretty quick. Now, of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys know about the IS 500 that will be coming out. Hopefully Lexus will send us one of those to review. That's going to be an awesome car. That's going to have that 5 liter V8. Obviously has a little bit more power than this one.
More than a little bit. It's, oh,
yeah, 470.
It's pushing 500 horsepower.
Yeah, so we're excited to test that one out, but this is going to be what most people get in the IS is this particular model right here. They do also have the lower end 2-liter engine if you get the just regular 300 model, but like I said, this is the volume seller for the IS lineup.
So we've talked about the engine, let's talk about the transmission. So with the IS, you have a little bit of a confusing situation.
Yeah.
So in addition to the IS 300 having 2 different engines depending on if you choose all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, this model here, you've got a 6-speed automatic with all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic with rear-wheel drive. So that, you know, can impact your decision of which one you may want to choose. So what we've got today is the all-wheel drive version. So we do have a 6-speed automatic transmission. That, of course, is, you know, kind of low on gears for 2021 and for a sports sedan. And you can tell, you know, this is definitely going to be slower than some of the 8 speeds and especially the dual clutches that many of the competitors are going to offer. You know, that being said, it's not doesn't completely kill the joy, but you know, it's certainly something that does impact the way this vehicle drives.
Yeah. And before we get out to the really twisty parts of this country road, I want to talk about the ride quality and all that. After living with this IS for the last week, I really have 0 complaints when it comes to how this vehicle rides, just because it really does a good job of soaking up the bumps as any sports sedan should. It should have that dual character, and this really does have that. It has a luxurious feel when you're on the road, even though we have the big 19-inch rims. The seats just hold you in place really well, and they're super soft and comfortable for everyday living.
One of the things you notice about this engine is the fact that it's naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
So it does have different characteristic than pretty much anything else in the class is going to be turbocharged at this point. So you have the kind of the opposite effect of a turbocharged engine, which is going to have all your torque and your power down low. This one here, you do have to rev it out to really feel that power come into play.
See, but the really good thing about that is you have that intoxicating, just naturally aspirated V6 sound that I love.
It does have a nice throaty sound to it. I'm going to go ahead and put us into the Sport Plus mode as we go about this drive here. So obviously the Sport Plus mode is definitely going to hold your revs. But let's go ahead and talk about this chassis, because this really is my favorite part about this IS experience. And I can go ahead and call that the slam dunk as well. The handling on this is just really, really nice. Lexus has done a phenomenal job with chassis tuning. You can throw this through some corners and you can just tell how well balanced and well controlled this is. It just feels right on a back road, just completely at home. Certainly one of your better options as far as handling is concerned in this class. Just really nice balance, precise feel with the steering, especially in the Sport Plus. You know, it tightens this up to make it feel a little bit more natural behind the wheel. It really is just, it's a lot of fun to drive out on the back road, and you can really hustle it. Of course, you usually get stuck behind someone going slow, but the other night I did have a little bit more luck with traffic, and you can really hustle down a back road and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and since we did mention the slam dunk, we're going to go ahead and call the Airball the 6-speed automatic transmission. Of course, that would be remedied if you get the rear drive model with the 8-speed automatic, but this one, as equipped with the 6-speed, it just it not quite fast enough, as Drew was talking about, for a sports sedan.
Yeah, you do even in the Sport Plus mode, you just kind of have a delay. You know, like I can put my foot down, and you just have that hesitation because there's just not enough gears, frankly.
But it sounds great. Now, another thing I do want to mention here is that we do have the adaptive variable suspension, since we have the dynamic handling package on this one. It's going to be standard in the IS 500, but it is, you know, the optional setup here with this 350, and it does a really, really good job. Like I mentioned earlier with the ride quality, it does a great job with the everyday livability, but also, you know, as you saw as we took it on that country road, it really has that ability to stiffen up and give you those awesome driving dynamics that you're craving. Now, since you probably will be doing that quite a bit, let's go ahead and talk about the fuel economy, because it might cost you a little bit at the pump. So this one has equipped the 350 all-wheel drive, is going to be coming in at 19, 26, 22, excuse me. Then the rear drive is going to be 23 combined. And then if you go for the 2-liter engine and the 300 rear drive, that's going to be quite a bit better. And then the 500 is not rated yet, but I don't expect that to be very good.
Definitely not. Definitely puts the power down well, of course, being all-wheel drive.
Well, as you can tell, we do like this IS, but how much is it going to cost you? It's going to start at $39,000. The IS 350 all-wheel drive, which is what we have here, is $44,900. Now, this one has, I believe, every single option that you can get. Lexus sent us one that was fully loaded. So we have everything. And then add in the destination charge of $1,025, and this one is going to be coming in at $58,040. So what do we think about the Lexus IS after living with it for the past 7 days? Well, we certainly like this vehicle. Lexus has done a really great job of keeping this vehicle fresh looking on the outside while also keeping the really awesome characteristics they had before. And while this is not the newest or most capable or sporty vehicle in the segment, this certainly is a great option. Well guys, that's going to wrap up this in-depth review of the Lexus IS 350 F Sport with the dynamic handling package. As you can tell, this is a pretty fun vehicle for us to have this week, and we really appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, hopefully that means you enjoyed this video, so be sure to help us out by hitting that subscribe button down below. Also, leave us a like and a comment, share it with your friends, do whatever you need to do. Please get this video out, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.